being Friday, the 2nd of July, 2021. I haven't seen the headlines in a couple of days, and we deliberated some of the issues as at yesterday, which was 1st of July, 2021. We'll be moving swiftly to look at some of the headlines that has characterized the Nigerian landscape within the couple of days, and also the ones that popped up between yesterday and this morning. And joining me in the studio today in looking at some of these issues is Mr. Olukubienusi Matthew. Mr. Matthew.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Pundit.
Thank you for having me.
Looking at the headlines, we'll be looking at about 5 different topics that have dominated the headlines for today, yesterday, and today majorly. The first one we're looking at is Boko Haram, Fulani S-men are different from IPOB Nnamdi Kanu. That statement was credited to the governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai. He said that Boko Haram and Fulani S-men are different from IPOB Nnamdi Kanu. So I'm trying to understand his basis of difference. If Boko Haram and Fulani S-men has committed lesser crime to probably have not warranted the kind of action the government is taking to quell IPOB, I wouldn't know. Or the government too would have been more faster, like the way they did to Nnamdi Kanu, to have quenched the agitation as a result of the dealings and the actions of Boko Haram members. Moving away from that, we're looking at a story from the Nation newspaper, and it said Buhari hijacked APC. Buhari hijacked APC. Then firstly, we'll have to proceed by looking at the Yoruba Nation rally will hold in Lagos. Sunday Igboho came, said that publicly, that the rally will still hold even after the invasion of the house of the Yoruba secessionist group leader in person of Sunday Igboho. So he said the rally will still hold. That was what was credited to him. Although some people have argued that the rally might not hold, considering the show of force the military and the police have been preparing. There are pictures already circulating how they are preparing against tomorrow. Moving away from that, we'll be looking at DSS declare Igboho wanted after army recovered arms in home raid. DSS declares Sunday Igboho wanted after arms recovery shocked. Buhari moms Zamfara lawmakers killer by bandits. Buhari moms Zamfara lawmakers killers by bandits. So those are the headlines we'll be looking at, Mr. Matthew. So to start with, let's look at the statement credited to the governor of Kaduna State. He came up publicly and said Boko Haram, Fulani S-men are different from IPOB. He went on to say that because IPOB have a face, so they are different. So meaning because they have a face, the government too is more swift. As at that point in time was not this worrisome. So seeing a man of that stature, which to me has consistently developed a concept of hypocrisy and double standard over time, what is the rationale of seeing, in as much as we know that there are differences between IPOB and Fulani S-men, but should that stand as a justification because he is saying they have face, meaning because there's a face, the government should push in all its apparatus, but the ones that don't have face, we should grant them amnesty and romance with them? Or what is the definition of the face? Because from Boko Haram, I think they are fighting for a territorial integrity. And if you're looking at the IPOB, it's for territorial integrity, no matter how you look at it. From Fulani and Boko Haram have hosted flag in some part of this country as a result of their religious ideological perspective. That's what I see it as, and that's the true picture. Although they come out to say, Western education is the sin and blah blah blah, but the point is they're looking for a particular territorial space to be called their own, whereby they can practice their religion freely and alienate themselves from the Western education, which they believe is what the Nigerian system has encouraged. The IPOB is fighting for a territorial space of its own, though both have different ideology. One is more calculative, using protest and dialogue. Maybe that's why the government is coming so bold on them. But if you look at it head to head, the truth is the both parties are fighting for a territorial space to practice either its religion or its ethnic alignment within a particular geographic space. So the governor trying to play the double standard policy of from the report that IPOB has a face. And if you look at this in relation to the demand of the federal government, when they were saying that the NSAS protesters need to come out with a face. So it's not justifiable that for every time there's a face for any agitation or any demands, it means the government want to go against those faces. So in looking at all of this, what do you make of the statement that IPOB, they use the word bandits? I don't use the word bandits. Bandit is a broad term. The Fulani herdsmen is the right terminology. So if we want to start correcting perspective, I think it is fair to start going back to the use of wrong words. It's not everybody in the Niger Delta that engage in militancy. I've heard Niger Delta militant. So we should place it in the right perspective and very well. Not because they are encouraging violence and not because they want to support the rate of what is happening in the country. But what is good for the goose, either good or bad, should also be good for the gander. So it should be a universal playground for every indigene of the country. So if you're saying they are not Fulani herdsmen, I stand to be corrected. I don't know. The point is, I don't believe you're from the Niger Delta, you are part of the militant. But the generic that even press, newspaper agency will say Niger Delta militant. So it's a generic name that covers even some people from that region that have suffered from the activities of even the militancy. And I've never supported the militancy. Not everybody in the East is supporting the IPOB. So in order to differentiate some of this, so that's why some people will decide to leave it the way it is, Fulani herdsmen. So when if you read about the Civil War and the counter-Civil War came, not everybody that was used, the Civil War was a planned work of nothing less than about 5-6 Igbo people, which majorly, some of them even grew up in the northern parts. But the term is Igbo-Ku. Is it the only Igbo people that sat down together to accept that? So we've been playing ethnicity when it favors people. We play double standard and hypocrisy. We pick the kind of thing to connect or to tag other people. I've been able to speak maybe 2 or 3 ethnic lines. And when you see the definition of how the other part of the ethnic language, and they use some kind of terminology, Menta, it simply means those that eat bitter kola. So I've tried as much as possible to do a little bit of research, and as a result of analytical movement within the country, there is no part of the country that have ever used any good terminology in referring to the other part, either secretly or openly. So I haven't seen that in the context of Nasiru El-Rufai's statement, which is really not new. I wasn't expecting him to say anything different from what he just said. After all, it's from the Northwest. What do you make of the whole statement? And considering his statement before now, especially on the issue of Boko Haram and insecurity, when he wasn't a member of the PDP, when he was countering Jonathan, I can remember so well. Even the Northern Elite came out publicly to say Jonathan Azadeh was killing their people. So what do you make of this statement from the same person?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me once more. Matthew is the name. For me, that statement credited to Madam El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. I can understand that he said because IPOB have a centralized leader. But at the same time, I believe that, and we all know it's a known fact, that Boko Haram have or had a centralized leader. It's only recently we are made to understand that Shakau killed himself. And from what all we can understand, somebody else have taken over that responsibility of that leadership. Then again, let us look at the basis. What does Boko Haram stand for? People have been able to decipher the meaning of Boko Haram to mean Western education is sin. And what is the root of Biafra agitation? The root is about self-determination, is about having a Biafran sovereign state. Coming from the angle of self-determination that is entrenched in the UN Charter, which Nigerian government is a signatory to. Then looking at Boko Haram by our standard globally have been recognized as a terrorist organization, not just in Nigeria, but globally.
It's true.
I'm trying to compare the two so that we understand where we stand. Looking at IPOB, quite agreed, Nigerian government have adequately and designated IPOB as a terrorist organization, and it has been gazetted. But do other part of the world see IPOB as a terrorist organization? I don't think so. Because if you look at the time Nigerian government designates and gazetted IPOB as a terrorist organization, US, United States of America, UK, European Union, even UN, we are not on the same page with Nigerian government. Just the same way Nigerian government find it difficult to convince the world that Niger Delta militants were terrorists. I think that is the same predicament and dilemma that Nigerian government have found itself with respect to IPOB. Having said that, I read a report yesterday where the government of Nigeria was expressing dismay and frustration as a result of not being able to convince the Western world that IPOB is a terrorist organization. Because there's a report that says that even ESN, which federal government believe is military arm of IPOB, that some foreign countries do not see it from the angle from where federal government is seeing it. That the particular country believes that it is majorly to handle insecurity in that region. So what am I trying to say? Perhaps that best explain the reason federal government did not approach UK government officially for the purpose of extraditing Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria to face that prosecution, knowing fully well that he had been moving freely in Britain. Then looking at having a central leader like El-Rufai have said, only recently, ISWAP attacked Boko Haram. They were able to decimate Boko Haram to the point where they were almost arresting Shakau, who is their central leader, and he was made to commit suicide. And using that to puncture the argument of Malam El-Rufai that Boko Haram do not have a central leader.
Yes.
Shakau is a
central leader. So
now I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming.
I want to note that.
Now,
sorry, I want to know that
okay.
Because when people talk, and there are no people who are sound enough to counter their report with facts and evidence. So, but El-Rufai was not fast to have identified that there is a central leader that the government should have also gone for. So he played hypocrisy and ethnicity as usual to pretend as if Boko Haram does not have. In fact, Boko Haram had a central leader even from the time of Yaradua. Yusuf.
That was extrajudicially killed.
So the governor, as usual, in his double standard policy, allowed logic to stand on itself by not saying the truth. So go on.
Then looking at bandits, though the government choose to call them bandits, Sheikh Gumi have made us understand that these are Fulani herdsmen who claim that their cows have been rustled. They now take it as an excuse to take to crime. Then I think on 19th of May this year, Gumi visited
2 months ago, a month plus.
In the incident that happened when Kankara students were kidnapped. Gumi visited some bandits in the forest. And what we are made to understand that is that he met with the leadership of the bandit. He met with some group of leadership under the there is some group of bandits under the leadership of one Dogo Jide. And we can see pictorial evidences, even some video evidence while Gumi was going to negotiate with bandits. I'm not saying somebody cannot negotiate with bandits or negotiate with insurgents for purpose of releasing
the kidnapped
victims. After all, there are instances where even Red Cross will be involved in some negotiation.
Yes. Even the US government at the point.
Context their statement is made, trying to use to justify the action of federal government not moving against the bandits swiftly to arrest the situation and justifying the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. That's the context
of the explanation.
So it is not true to say that the bandits do not have a central leader.
They have,
but the leadership may vary from state to state. And from what I can understand, each and every state have their centralized leadership. So to that extent, government would have been able to engage the leadership by way of offensive. Then I can understand that even recently in Katsina State, the Katsina State government offered amnesty to bandits. And Shegumi faulted the procedure and process of the amnesty because he said it was not, the package did not include monetary benefits.
Yes, it's true.
So to that extent, who did Katsina State government engage with?
Were they just moving in the air?
With? I'm equally using that to puncture the argument of
Nasiru El-Rufai.
Then I think if you even look at what is happening in the home state of El-Rufai, Kaduna State, that happens to be somehow the epicenter of banditry. You see that even the approach of that state government doesn't have human face. Because we have seen instances where even an El-Rufai have said that they had even wanted to deploy air raid against the bandits, even if it means killing of some of the kidnapped students.
Yes, for viewers at home who want to send your comment, you can please send your comment through the live chat comment page. We'll be going through and read some of those comments as time goes on. We're sorry we're not able to get our phone line to be working today, but by next week we'll be getting the phone line working perfectly. So, Mr. Matthew, you're talking about Bandit.
I'm centering my attention on Kaduna State now. Now, we are seeing a government in Kaduna State that says they do not want to negotiate with bandits, they do not want to pay ransom. I agree with them to an extent because if you are paying ransom, definitely it will encourage kidnapping. But a situation where you don't have what it takes to police your students, the boarding schools, areas, locations that are more vulnerable to attack by bandits. Do you now say you don't want to negotiate and pay ransom and allow students who have been kidnapped to be killed? It is on that strength that the state government of Kaduna State said that they had even wanted to deploy air raid against bandits, even if it means killing some of the kidnapped students. So for me, I don't think that is the right way to go. Then again, recently, even the wife of the Kaduna State governor was quoted to have said, which she have not denied, that if she's kidnapped,
which is a political statement,
that nobody should pay ransom. And my argument has always been, if El-Rufai himself know the right thing to do, if he wants us to take him seriously, and the wife know the right thing to do, because you can volunteer to be used to replace any of the kidnapped victims and ask the government not to pay ransom and pay the supreme sacrifice. But I can understand that at one point in time, when they were trying to get Lee Shaib out of captivity, a priest from the United States of America offered that he himself should be used to replace Lee Shaib. Though Boko Haram turned down the offer. In the same vein, I expect somebody like El-Rufai
or the wife
to volunteer and offer himself or herself to be used to replace any of the kidnapped victims so that we can take them seriously. Because the same way and manner the students, innocent students, have blood running in their veins, the same way these leaders who have not been able to live up to their responsibility of protecting, the supposed leaders anyway, who have not been able to live up to their responsibility of protecting lives and property, the same way they have blood running in their veins.
But is it not worrisome that in the midst of all this, we have strong, ardent supporters that what the government is doing is the best we can get? They are wonderful people. The government is not
far-fetched. The reason is not far-fetched.
I'm driving somewhere.
Okay.
The psyche of the people seem to have been padded using poverty, lack of exposure, lack of historical antecedent. People are not taught history. Even those that even went through the 4 walls of school, how do we evaluate things that happen within our common society? Have you seen the normal Nigerians behave? People sometimes, when it comes to electioneering period, 2,000 naira, 1,000 naira, is it that the political class seem to have padded the psyche? They predicted the mental philosophy of a majority of Nigerians when it comes to national issues. Because when you see the support based on what is happening, I don't think there's any of this happening in anywhere in the world.
But let me tell you something. in every society, in every environment in Nigeria, you have the political class. And irrespective of what the government is doing, whether the policy is anti-people, whether it's anti-democratic, whether it's against all known norms of the society, the political class will always support it because they are the direct beneficiary of the fraudulent status quo. If you look at any state, for instance, you have your local government, have the local government chairman, have all the various structure in terms of how money trickle down to the grassroots. So they all benefit and they stand to defend that system because of their pecuniary interests, not because perhaps they have.
Okay. So sorry for the breaking transmission. We had a slight technical issues. So as we're saying, Mr. Matthew, we're talking about the RFI scenario.
Yes, I was trying to look at why the political class always support government policies, irrespective of the nature of the policy, irrespective of the decision. I was talking about that because of their pecuniary interests, because they are the greater beneficiary of the fraudulent nature of the current status quo. Now, from what I can understand, if you look at how the northern youths are being micromanaged, it is very convenient and easy for the government to micromanage the youth from the northern part of the country. And I think that is what I think the ideology they want to bring to the southern part of the country. Because I think that it is the average southerner have an independent mind. The average southerner youth can design and decide what he wants to do, though within the ambits of the law anyway. Just unlike the northern youth that can easily be controlled from a central unit. So I think the federal government, or the government rather, is looking for ways to micromanage the southern youths. And because they have not been able to micromanage them, the reaction and the resistance is what we are seeing. Because look at all the effort of the government. I'm saying it particularly because if you look at what the situation in Kaduna State, if you are not seeing reaction against what the government is doing from other part of the Kaduna State, apart from the southern part of Kaduna, it tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong with that state. Because majorly, the areas we see people complaining and the areas we see bandit activities is majorly from the southern Kaduna. Now, the question is, why is it not predominant in the other part of Kaduna State? Why is it restricted to southern Kaduna?
Okay. Mr. Matthew, you've tried in raising so many questions, but in all, it is evident that the storyline the governor of Kaduna State brought up, which is in person of Nasiru El-Rufai, has no basis. It is just mere political statement as usual, which the political class, irrespective of their political parties or alignment, because the man who is an APC tomorrow moves to PP and the one in PDP moves to APC. So we don't really have leaders of truth and leaders of good conscience. So whoever feels that is not a statement of fact should check through some of these historical facts and antecedent. These people don't have ideology. In America, you know of the Democrat, you know of the Republican. There have been cases of cross-carpeting, which is very few. But in the Nigerian political tenet, we don't have laws. There are laws written in black and white, which has never been implemented for most issues and most things that affect the generality of the people, except those within their caucus and their close alignment. So whichever way, that is, I think we've been able to do justice to know that the statement was a mere political statement. Even the Fulani headsmen have leaders.
Yes, of course.
They have association of Meitiala. Sometimes these guys come out to meetings, they talk in public space and take responsibility.
And apart from that,
on some of the killings.
Globally, Fulani headsmen are rated fourth most dangerous
terrorist organization in the world. So El-Rufai is getting
going by global terrorism
index. So El-Rufai is, as we were saying, Mr. Matthew, the truth still remains that all the organizations, or probably the people in question, that El-Rufai was trying to absorb, they all have faces, from the herdsmen to the terrorist organization, the Boko Haram. They're individuals that push up for some of this agitation, and they come out to talk. But I know of Meyeti Allah, he's saying the bandits negotiated with Igumi. There was a face. Igumi was not talking to his spiritual being. The Boko Haram, there's a Shekau. So the statement was mere political and is not solving the issue at hand. So moving away from that, the statement credited on newspaper, that is on the Nation newspaper, we said Buhari have hijacked APC. I know you've read it. I don't know if I can get the breakdown of some of the excerpts. The writer went on to state how Buhari, after 2015, abandoned some of the key people that worked for the party and worked for them. And towards 2019, when he needed them most, he comes back, draw them more closer, and at the same time, he will pretend as if he will interfere in political affairs, the hand of Esau and the voice of David. I think that was the voice of Jacob. So I haven't read that. I think it was on the Nation newspaper. I haven't read the headline. What do you make of the whole story? How did Buhari hijack the system? Some people have also argued, because I was listening to a friend some couple of hours ago. He was like, Buhari did not really do what they both come together to agree, as he's a loyalist to one of the APC, which I don't have problem with. You can be a loyalist to anybody. But where I have problem is, I don't have problem where logic. I hate double principled people. I asked them a question. The calculation of going into the alignment was because you felt you people will control the Buhari. And when it fell, you guys are now trying to antagonize, because your aim of going into the alignment, it wasn't because of the generality of the promises of the manifesto you gave out to the public. So in the process of failing in those regards, you are now coming back to now make it look as if he betrayed you. No, you betrayed the people, because you lied on the electoral promises in the first place. So looking at that statement, can you really say Buhari hijacked APC, or APC hijacked Buhari?
Thank you very much for the question. I think for me, it's unfortunate the situation we have in Nigeria. It's not just limited to APC. I think it started with PDP. A system where you have the kingmaker. They say power corrupt and absolute power corrupt. Absolutely. So that is what you are seeing in Nigeria. Like I said it didn't start with APC. Even in PDP, if you are the governor, you are the leader of that party in the states. You are the president, you are the leader of the party in the country. I think that is what APC incorporated into their own system, and it's bad. Now, looking at the trajectory of the events that culminated up to this point in APC, I think the writer of that article chronicled how leadership was changed from time to time. How Choma Shomole came in
and did the dirty jobs for Buhari.
At the end of the day, he was edged out, and how we now have this Bumi-led committee.
The governor.
And if you look at the Bumi-led committee, their tenure have been extended twice, and the current tenure have been extended indefinitely. And from the body language of that write-up, that the party is now being run from Asu Rock. Because if you look at how the leadership have been extended of recent, it is majorly the president that is taking the decision. And the reason is not far-fetched. Because Nigerian system arrogates so much power to the office of the president. So the way it stands, nobody wants to be in the bad book of Mr. President in APC. So to that extent, once the president speaks,
that is all.
His word makes people to fall in line. It's irrespective of whether you are comfortable with it or not. And I think there's apprehension in APC currently, because even when people are not comfortable with the status quo, it becomes difficult for them to voice out. It becomes difficult for them to show their opposition because of the fear of
intimidation.
It's very difficult to be a Nigerian politician, to handle the position of executive When I mean executive, it could be agency, it could be
Government.
parastatal. Just once you handle a political position, it's very difficult that you have not soiled your hand in terms of corruption. So to that extent, nobody wants to confront Mr. President.
But sorry, there are times that some people might not have soiled their hand in corruption.
It's very difficult.
It's difficult, but
I'm yet to see that Nigerian.
Wait, sorry, I'm coming. If the government want to go out against you, even when you've not soiled your hand, do you think soiling your hand has anything to do when they start popping up all these charges? In fact, it was in this country we were all living witness how the late president was accused of sponsoring armed robbery and was engaged in robbery. We were here. It was even in the same country. The serving senator Dino Miller was alleged of running gun. It was in the same country. We can go on and on.
What I'm trying to say is this: if take Honor, for instance, as at the time there was allegation against Honor, if Honor did not operate those accounts, he was alleged, those foreign accounts he was alleged to have operated, it would have been a different ball game. Though the allegations were politically motivated, but some of the allegations may be true because they were privy to his dealings, going by who was behind the allegation.
Okay, maybe let me just read one or two comments. Okay, I think we've had quite a number of comments. Okay, this is greetings, Mr. Ezekiel Grace. Tunaija is back. Virginia.
What is Tunaija saying this time around?
Godwin Johnson. Okay, Tunaija, let me even be critical with his. Let me be fair. The government has been going after Boko Haram for years now. Hundreds of Nigerian soldiers have died, and thousands of civilians have also been killed because of Boko Haram. Okay, that was just a comment. He wasn't asking any question. But the government is also going after banditry in the north, whether S-men or not. I think he was trying to say whether S-men or not. A lot of people have died in that fight in the northwest. Okay, nobody's saying a lot of people have not died. Then I think Justin Godwin said, Kenya government deny involvement in Kanu's arrest. Yes, I read that. Okay, we're still coming towards that area.
I've not actually read about.
Okay, I think I read that online before coming to the studio. You should not blame the word. Okay, I think there was a reply from the comment. Okay, Karim Samuel said, guys, be careful. You are attacking the Fulani of zoology. Karim, everybody cannot be quiet at the same time when the anomalies is becoming a norm. There's a system that is not making Nigeria looks comfortable for you and I. So everybody can be quiet. Yeah, so the highest thing the government can do is to keep arresting as many as they can do. But some people will still talk. After the death of Delegiwa and some other people, there are still vibrant people who still kept on the fight. So you don't expect everybody to be quiet at the same time. So in as much as I understand your advice, which we we'll put into consideration, you see, if the government has been doing some things in the right way, people would not just wake up and be criticizing the government necessarily. I think this government has received the lowest numbers of critics compared to the last administration that even performed in so many areas than this current government.
Of course.
The American citizen criticizes Donald Trump far higher than what we are doing in Nigeria. We've not even started critic. It will have to be fair. A police killed George Floyd, and that kind of protest took over the whole of America, down to different countries of the world. So which is Nigeria, with the numbers of people that die every day, which is our protest should have lasted for over a year. Okay, then who else? I think, I think I've read from Karim Samuel. Okay, I think Mr. Michael Clapham. It's obviously clear now that Nigeria only belongs to the, Fulani. To Nigeria again, wow, groping in the dark is futile. Fulani simply do not have a face that represents them. This is what troubles me. Similar attack happens in Mali, and the elders accuse France of the problem. Okay, what is To Nigeria trying to say?
Well, another thing is, whether we like it or not, if you look at the myriad of insecurity bedeviling Nigeria, generally speaking, Fulani is at the center of it.
No, I think
if you look at
To Nigeria is trying to say that since there was attack in Mali, they should be attacking Nigeria. Because from his comment, I said this similar attack happened in Mali, and the elders accused France of the problem. So I'm wondering, how has Mali got into doing Nigeria? What is the correlation? I'm talking about my country because I'm in Nigeria. So if Mali is that claiming it was France, I mean, that is their headache in that part of the world. So they should fix it. The one that is speculating, I don't have relation in Mali. So the one that is close to me, our people here, I think that it should be the major concern, not because I'm encouraging Fulani's attack and the counter debate between Fulani and France, though I read some of the headlines between Ghana and some.
But one thing to Nigeria should understand is, if you look at the current situation in Nigeria, nobody is willing and ready to have Fulani as his neighbor in the southern part of the country.
It's obvious.
It's not by coincidence. It's as a result of their activities.
Over time.
Yes, over time. So it is not, and the government have a duty to go back and build that confidence. Otherwise, if the government, this current government leaves the saddle, I don't know what and how they will manage the situation to reintegrate the Fulani into the society.
It's not possible.
Because look at any decision or any intended policy of the government that has to do with the land, that has to do with land,
is in favor of.
The people are always skeptical what the government want to achieve. If you even look at this intention of federal government when they said they wanted to review Land Use Act, and they wanted to even do it unilaterally, the same government that is quick to remind people, agitators of restructuring, to go to National Assembly that has a mandate of a constitutional review, did not remember that they need to go to National Assembly to review the Land Use Act. So you see that double standard. So I want Nigeria to take note of all these things.
No, Nigeria has never mentioned double standard in everything. Okay. You will stylishly move that and now go to one African country and pick one example and give you to look as if since it happened here, it must happen here. Because I mean, I don't have any problem with Ghana or whatever. But even as that,
was it because in 2010, the Ghana government officially chased the Fulani enhancement out of Ghana territory?
Yes, it's true. It's true. And you can't compare the level of insecurity we've had in this country to any of those countries.
I think we have even accommodated them enough. If the president can even be quoted to have said that the headers who wield AK-47 and other sophisticated
are not from Nigeria,
are foreign headers.
If truly they are not.
If Kano State Governor and the person of Ganduje could be quoted to have said to stop these clashes between headers and host communities, there's every need to stop the mass exodus of headers from
north to downward south.
So we should know that if you look at it, however you try to look at it, it is not about being biased. Fulani herdsmen, they are a menace in this country currently. Okay, somebody may claim that there are bad ones who have infiltrated their ranks, but whose responsibility is it to identify the bad ones?
Okay, we digress. It was because I had to read some of the comments. Okay. So we were talking about Buhari hijacking the structure.
The truth is, we all know that 2023 is around the corner. And the average Nigerian politician or politician generally will always start repositioning himself ahead of general election. So I think that best explain the reason Mr. President is no longer exercising the lukewarm attitude he's known for. That best explain the reason he's no longer standing aloof, like people used to know him as somebody who stands aloof, who is not interested in politicking. And if you look at what is happening currently, I think he have grip on the party structure currently, because Mana Bumi is answerable to him directly, and they regard him as the leader of the party by the virtue of the position that is the president, and the constitution of their party makes the president the leader of the party. Personally, I'm faulting that system where even your own constitution as a party makes the president the local government chairman, the governor, the party leader at the national level, at the state level, at the local government level, as the case may be. For me, there should be distinction between party and governance. You are the executive governor of the state, yes, do the business of governance. You are the president of the country, yes, do the business of governance. Leave politics for politicians. I quite agree, you are a politician before you became the president. But the business of running the party should be left for politicians.
Yes, Mr. Matthew, there's a thin line between politicking and party.
I quite agree with you. So, the area I'm faulting the system in Nigeria, I say it's not limited to APC. The area I'm faulting is where the constitution of the party makes the president the leader of the party, makes the governor the leader of the party at the state level, makes the local government chairman the leader of the party at the local government level. What you do as a party is this. You have the party chairman, national chairman. You have the national working committee. You have the state chairman. You have the local government chairman. It trickles down like that. And there is a system that makes mandatory as a member of the party, out of your salary, you have a due to pay to the party for the day-to-day running of the party. So that you can separate the business of governance from the running of the party. Because they're saying that he who pays the piper, the takes the toll. So by the time you allow the president, the governor, as the case may be, to bankroll the party, what do you expect? He will control the party.
Do we see a change for the kind of political system we operate in this?
What I'm saying generally is it is wrong for the president
to be the leader of the party.
And the way it stands, the status quo of the APC constitution, the status quo of PDP constitution makes the governor the leader of the party at the state level, makes the president the leader of the party at the national level, which is obviously wrong.
That's true.
So for people who argue that Mr. President has hijacked the party structure, it is not difficult for him to hijack it. If he had decided to stand aloof in the past, it's because he decided to stand aloof. If the constitution of the party have already given him that leverage, I think he is only doing it because he have the power to do it, going by the tenets of their constitution.
Okay. So, is there any hope that some of these things can be readjusted constitutionally? Because when you see, I was watching the last election, that because if you check the former election before now, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote.
Electoral college.
No, Donald Trump won the electoral college. The same thing happened to, I think, Al Gore and W. Bush. The next thing he said is, if it was in Nigeria, it would have been a civil war. Although some people have argued on the fact that, that is not the best practice of democracy. But where I'm driving at is the fact that people who ordinarily should draft a template considering our peculiarity, because Nigeria is a very different set of people from virtually most countries of the world. So that to situate our situation in order to solve most of these agitation, most people don't want to go into politics because the way we play our politics is like winner takes it all, kill the other opponent, sit tight syndrome. So can't we draft our political manifesto? The Americans are known, they have the two major democratic parties, the Democrat and the Republican. So it's hardly for you to see, based on ideology and principle, for them to cross carpet overnight and castigate what they've said for years. And but in Nigeria, no policy, no rule, no standard, no everything goes, anything can happen, is our own. Is there hope that we can change some of these things?
For now, personally, I do not see that hope. The reason is not far-fetched. Because the people who can make the change happen are the people who are benefiting from
the system.
Because we have all seen how powerful a Nigerian president is. Not just Mr. Buhari. A Nigerian president is too powerful. We have seen how the constitution so much arrogates so much power in that office of Mr. President. We have seen how Mr. President have refused to sign over 200 bills that have been in the National Assembly. We have seen how National Assembly over time, not just this National Assembly anyway, have devoted time, resources, energy in going through all the process of constitutional amendments. And it will end in the shelf of National Assembly. Or rather, when it passes to Mr. President, it will be gathering dust. It is only when and where the president find interest in a particular bill that he has sent to it. So it is very difficult under that scenario, under that circumstance, to have a holistic review of the system to engender fairness and equity. Because the same people who are benefiting from the system are the people who are sitting on it. You see, like the issue of this petroleum industry bill. Look at 7 Senates, 8 Senate, I think this current one is
Ninth Senate.
ninth Senate.
Eighth
Seven
Senate
Senate,
was Saraki.
8 Senate, they all deliberated and kickstarted the process of PIB. Because the oil majors, when I mean the oil majors, I'm talking about Chevron, Shell, ExxonMobil, and all that. Because their interest is against PIB, they've always used resources at their disposal to frustrate it. In the same manner, the political class will frustrate any bill that does not suit their intention or their interests. So for me, I do not see the possibility of the system changing for the better considering the present status quo. Except otherwise, we have a selfless leader who will go beyond his parochial interests and look at the generality of Nigerians and their general well-being and look at the future of Nigerian democracy.
Mr. Matthew, maybe the leader has not been given back to.
Because if we start going by the current leaders we have, I don't think I have not foreseen any leader currently that will engender that change.
Sorry, is that under defended? Okay. Okay, God bless you too. Nigeria is a fertile ground for the forces of destabilization. We have corruption, tribalism, poverty, low security system. We have to start taking a stronger security posture. I think that's from Nigeria. I think it's a valid point. But when you use the term we, who is the we? That is where I'm a little bit not comfortable.
But you see, in a civilized environment, in a true democratic environment, the government of democracy is always for the people, by the people, and it's being run by the people. But unfortunately in Nigeria, the government made themselves as an opposition to the people, not even ready to engage the people, not ready to listen to the people. It's only unfortunate that in Nigeria, it's only a situation where a group of people have considered themselves as a threat to the sovereignty of the state. That is when the government listens to them. They need your idea.
Okay, then I think Karim Samos, nothing can be adjusted constitutionally because everyone in power, Fulani, can kill your own blood for the sake of peace as Fulani is in power. I'm sick of Nigeria as a state. Okay, I think okay. Okay, I think this is from Biafra Freedom at Tunanja. Okay, he was talking to Tunanja. Okay, I don't want to read some of those comments. Okay, Tunanja as Karim Samuel, thanks. Just calling it as it is and from the real information of what our country is lacking. Why we keep having problems. Okay. I think those are the major comments. If we'll have to go and okay, looking at the other headlines, Yoruba rally tomorrow. Sunday Igboho says is going on with the rally after the invading of his house by the men of the Department of State Security, although there have been counter accusation and so many comments have been on here and there, and the DSS have come out to say, oh, they had a tip-off based on intelligence gathering, and they had to move in. They saw charms, they saw guns, they saw. Hope is not the security apparatus is not making itself a mockery tool in the hands of the populace. Whereby, if you check the antecedent, I've listed some from the case of Showore to the case of Dr. Bukola Saraki, to the case of Dino, even to the case of Shehu Sani, to mention a few, when they just wake up and bring this allegation and counter allegation. And when they get to the court of law, the court just throw away some of those things because the people would have almost preempted what we understand it. It's possible Sunday Igboho might have had some of those guns considering the level of insecurity in the land. That is a probability. But with the way the government has always been going in some of this issue, wouldn't it be a case as usual when they get to court in order to prove who actually owns this gun? And the case will just be tumbled. We saw how the judges, about 6 of them whose house were burgled by the same DSS, they got to the court and I don't know anyone that have been convicted till now. In fact, there was a particular case where the money they counted was not even accurate when they got to the court in terms of evidence presentation.
Some have lost interest.
Yes, the money they discovered from one of the judges' house in the process of doing court, and the money was not, I think, from the bond or some. It's online. So, looking at the action of the security apparatus and what happened with Sunday Igboho and the planned protest, what do you see in general? Because left for me, people have predicted that the government will act in the same vein, and that is the way they acted. So,
okay, for me, the people who want, looking at the mentality of Nigerian police, Nigerian army, Nigerian DSS, I think it's better they share the plan for now. Why have I said so? The reason is this: life for me is sacrosanct, and human, we don't have what it takes to create life. And if you have a system where the security agencies do not have value for life, their premium for life is too insignificant. So under that situation, you should be taken. So for me, I think they should put off that rally for the purpose of life. Because from the body language of the security agencies, they're going to come hard on anyone that defies the government order to come out to protest. But the government failed to realize that the people have rights under the Nigerian Constitution to peacefully protest.
Freedom of speech, freedom of...
And if you look at that right, even the police do not have the right to even ask somebody to come and notify them when you want to protest. But looking at Nigerian scenario, it is better you stop that rally for now for the purpose of life of the people who wanted to protest. Because if they make good their position and come out to protest, to do the rally, definitely the police must confront them, and police must attack them unprovoked. The police will not wait until they are provoked. So for me, we also saw how the police in Lagos, in Abuja, dispersed protesters during that June 12 protest, the last June 12 protest.
No, they were supporting the protesters that were
in Abuja.
In Abuja, that
I agree. So what I'm saying in essence is, I think the organizers of that rally should put it off. Because if you look at the manner of the attack that was carried out in Igboho's residence, ordinarily, a responsible DSS would have shown some sign of remorse to have killed 2 of your own citizens. They claim that there was a gun duel.
Which different account have countered that?
So I don't know the extent of the truth with regard to that there was a confrontation. But what I can understand is because they said part of the AK-47 they recovered is what was snatched at the Jiroko border. And the problem here is the same Nigerian security agencies who are alleging at the same time are going to be the arbiter. So how do you now get the fact? How do you decipher what actually transpired?
Let me even come in there, Mr. Matthew. To make it more worrisome is the fact that in looking at this very scenario and what happened during the NSAS, now if they claim that there was a gun duel, maybe we should move. When people are consistent with lying over time, there are stages you can lie. Someone went online as when the DSS moved into that premises, 1 a.m. Similar scenario to what happened during the NSAS, that the lady DJ had to go online. Insane climbs when security operatives stopped you on the way. People video. Even the police himself is carrying a body camera because they know their mode of operation is civilized and in standard. They can defend it. But immediately you bring out a phone or a camera in this part of the world, they can shoot you on sight. Don't use that camera. That body language alone signifies that there's an ulterior motive in most operation of our security personnel's 90% occasion. 90%. If you claim, I'm not saying they might not have been a god dwell, which is very, very fantastic. Why did you remove the CCTV camera box in his house? Just like the way the cameras were shut down in Lekito. See, there's a sequence of activity that is happening. Nigerian government or the security architecture only uses one tactics over time. You can't say you won't predict that they won't remove the camera, because the CCTV footage would have given us the clear picture if truly there was a gun duel or not. And I bet you, I subject it to an open way, you will never see that report of that CCTV footage till Jesus come. Because the operation they went for is not in standard practice anywhere in any black nation.
So that is where my concern is now. The same DSS that is accusing, the same police, the same army, the same government
will be the one, the prosecuting agency in the court.
So where do you now get justice? So I think for now, for me,
but don't you see an NSAS kind of approach? Because the army was deployed to go and clear the toll gate, and the next day they were burning and they were protests all over the country.
What I'm saying is, I'm just saying it for the safety of Nigerians.
No, I understand. You
can imagine.
Sorry,
let me bring this. After the NSAS, the Chief Coroner of Lagos on the 19th of October 2020 made a public announcement that necessitated, I'm talking of the person of Mojishola Dada. That announcement necessitated Falana to verify how many people they were killed. And it was discovered that about 98 corpses were dumped in various mortuaries in Lagos. So what am I trying to say? That such circumstance, such scenario should be averted. Because if you look at the body language of Nigerian government, Nigerian police, even in Lagos State, it tells you that they will come hard on anybody that will gather at that rally.
But will that solve the agitation?
Even if it will not solve the agitation, but for the purpose of saving life, it's better they put off.
No. I'm looking at it. Yes, I understand. I understand what you said perfectly. Left for me, I would say they should soft pedal with the planned protest for tomorrow. But the question is, would the action of the government bringing out security forces solve the agitation?
It's not solving any agitation. It's not solving any.
Rather, it will escalate. So, is it not better? Because some people have also argued, because we have a platform, Peace and Conflict Resolution page, we were arguing something. People are of the opinion that it is time people should take the bull by the horn. Because I will be lying. There were pictures on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. During when the protest was on, for instance, police were engaging in killing on daily basis while the protest was on in different parts of the country. They were killing. In fact, there was a picture of an Air Force officer that was reprimanding a police that, why are you shooting at them? The Air Force was there, the police was there, he's online. The Air Force guy have to come up and challenge the police. Why are you opening fire on them? These people are not criminals. They are not as tough as Boko Haram that we faced. So why are you opening fire on them? They are unarmed. It's online. So within the same security, the Air Force have to tell the police to pull back. The Air Force guy have to pull his vest to show the police officer, which is the rank of, I think, an ASP. And I think it was an equivalent rank in the Air Force, which is close to the rank of a colonel that was leading the Air Force guy. Look at my rank. Can you do this to your commissioner when he's talking, or your assistant commissioner of police? So in consideration of that, to what we've experienced in the country, because the people were not scared enough that they killed people that day. The next day, they started burning and they came out the mass. And the government was handicapped. The army was there. They did not bring them out because it would have turned to another story all at the same time. So the point is, for how long will this approach solve? Has this approach ever solved anything?
It have never solved.
Will it solve anything? Has not solve anything? Problem. So do we have reasonable government that is thinking? That is the question.
You see, I think because until the system is changed, the only way you can change the system is to change the leadership of the country. That is where it is good if the youths can avail themselves the opportunity of this 2023. Because the way it stands.
No, 2023. Sorry, I'm coming. Let me write that down so that because I don't want to forget that. Because we've also argued that no youth can win from this political system, no matter how brilliant you are. Nobody is winning 2023. Quote me. The next political leadership is coming from the APC or the PDP, the same set of people. So 2023, just like 2015, is of no use.
I disagree with you. I beg to disagree with you.
Okay.
The reason is this. If you decide to register when INEC comes up with voter, of course, they have opened their portal for online registration. Could they have said the physical registration will come up with due time? So what I'm trying to say in essence is the youth should avail themselves of that opportunity of registration as eligible voter. Let the election come proper. If the youths turn out en masse during the voting proper, there's little or nothing the elites or these cohorts can do about it. The reason, okay, if you look at what transpired during NSAS, when everybody was in the field, on the streets, at the same time, there was little or nothing the security agencies could do because they were overwhelmed. So in the same vein, if all the youths come out, deploy that tenacity, and come out en masse for the purpose of voting for the right candidates, these political allies cannot stop them. So
you feel by 2023, someone else aside these two dominant, you said you disagree with me.
If that resolve with which
that result was not a political movement. Have you seen the last election?
That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That if that's a need during that NSAS, if they could use that energy to come out and register, because in the process of registration, you will agree with me that nobody is censoring who should register, who should not register. They will allow people to register. To that extent, after that registration, I think the election proper is where the challenge may be. But if they are coming out en masse, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Immediately after.
Wait, sorry.
I want to just bring this to your knowledge. Immediately after the NSAS, there was a by-election in Lagos State, a senatorial by-election.
So what happened?
A politician was telling me that in that election, that APC stewards were jittery.
Which party now won?
Listen to what I was saying. That they were jittery, believing that people want to come out en masse to vote. Unfortunately, people did not come out
because it is political.
You are not getting the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that if the youths can avail themselves of the privilege of this voter registration and get registered,
it's a conditional statement because I'm not seeing the youths availing themselves.
So that is a problem. And so because until you get involved in the political process, you cannot effect any change.
So you believe the system, the electoral system is fair, that it is what you vote for.
Even as fair as it is, even as fraudulent as it is. If every eligible youth voter
in the north or in the south?
In the south, for instance.
Okay, because the answer was in the south.
Comes out on election day. Comes out on election day to vote.
Only in fact, why the southern protesters were protesting against it, the north were even coming out. There's a guy.
You are not getting the point I'm speaking. The point I'm saying is that's why I now limit to the south. If all eligible voter youth in the south comes out on election day, there's little or nothing the political class can do to circumvent the rule.
So
let me tell you this: it's a common knowledge. It's a common knowledge that you only rig election in an area where you are popular.
Yes, they're coming out during the answer. Has it changed anything in police operation?
If it has not changed, because the leadership of the police is still the same thing. We are talking of a situation where you can change the political leaders. Leaders, definitely it will trickle down. And
just after the election held in Lagos. So just like that the politician also told you, I was expressing the same thing, that the people that will come out, anything that involves politics, go and check. To have a consensus, even among the youth on how to discuss in the last two elections.
Until you have a system or a process or a strategy to make the harder consensus, it's unlikely that you can wrestle the power.
So are you now falling back to what I said before now?
I'm not falling back to what you say. I'm only telling you that
If
the youth,
you made a conditional statement,
have what it takes to wrestle the power. Only if
you can have what you take, but you don't have the capacity to implement what you have. There are two different things. You can have, if you are sound, you're brilliant, and you're an environment whereby you can exploit or bring out those things in you. But when the same you move to the US, you're a brilliant person, you have a good job. That good job gives you good prospect. You can afford to send your children to school.
No.
That you're here and those things you're not having the luxury does not mean you don't have the innate abilities in you. Two different things.
Now, I'm even putting it to you. I'm even putting it to you that it behoves on somebody like you and I to start educating and enlightening people on the need to come out and register en masse, especially the youths.
Okay, Mr.
Because quite agreed, so many youths are not willing and ready to even get registered. So it behoves on you to even enlighten them. Because if on election day, in Lagos, for instance, the voting youth will be up to 60% of the voting population. So if the whole voting youth, or if you get 95% of the voting youth comes out to vote, there is no way you can use the system to circumvent their will.
But you need a political platform. Which platform would they agree on?
I'm
That's
saying,
another question.
Irrespective of the... Okay, now, if you pick a candidate from a political party that is not even relevant, and you have the resolve that irrespective of party,
the resolve is a personal ideology where individuals,
it starts from sensitization.
So many factors play.
It starts from enlightening
sensitizing
the
Agbero. The Agbero votes more than the educated elite.
Let me tell you this.
Do you know the funny part?
But let me tell you this.
Do you know the funny
part? It's on record that even the Agberos in Lagos attempted to stop the NSAS protest.
Yes, it's true.
But they were overwhelmed.
Yes, it's true.
So what am I saying?
Because as at that point in time, the issue at hand was not a political issue. Even the Agbero, directly or indirectly, including the NURC transporter, have been affected by the actions of the police. They have relations that have been affected by that action of the police. They don't like police. The NSAS is a different analytical platform or a different stories when it comes to political alignment.
But that did not influence the role they played during NSAS.
No, they were more or less neutral.
They weren't neutral.
At the point.
They weren't neutral. There was
at the point they wanted to attack.
There was a report that one of their leaders in Lagos
wanted to attack.
Brought food for
NSAS. No, that was after the guy came out with cutlass. There was before the food came.
So they weren't standing aloof. They weren't in fact, they maintained the position. They were in support of the government. And that could not stop the resolve of the youths.
Yes, it's true. But what I'm trying to say, it was not a political guide.
I agree with you.
It's easy for the youths. That was why Whiskey can go and collect Grammy. That was why a Burna Boy from South can be a collabo with Whiskey, and we can have somebody, maybe the Zakiaze from the North. Anything that is not political, it's easy for the youth or Nigeria, North, Igbo and Yoruba, South, cut across to align. But immediately is moving towards that line of political alignment, political whatever. It's like a no-go area. Especially the last election, we saw Ishowore, Mowalu, Drew Toyi, and every other person. They find it difficult to even come together and to even discuss on the same platform. So in rounding up now, Mr. Matthew, let's move away from that storyline because our time is fast spent and we have let's look at Buhari's statement. I'm deeply shocked. Buhari mourns Zamfara lawmaker killer by bandit. Our president is always shocked. We're used to that. So
I do not need to fault somebody who says shocked by the death of another human being. But again, it behoves on him to protect life and property,
which is
as a mandate given to him by the Constitution.
No, which he even promised that he would do.
He should go beyond being shocked. Personally, I'm not happy when any human being is being killed, because as human, I believe that life is sacrosanct, because we don't have what it takes to create life, and we don't have what it takes to call somebody back to life. So on that basis, you handle it with every seriousness. But we find ourselves in a precarious situation. and Mr. President having to get the mandate given to him by Nigerians to protect life and property. So in as much as we appreciate his disposition of being shocked by the death of the man, it should go beyond that to protect life and property, not just in the north, but across board in Nigeria.
Okay, so any final words?
My final word is
this: time is fast spent.
That Mr. President should know and recognize that he was elected as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the president of Fulani. And that Malam Nasir El-Rufai should understand and recognize that as IPOB had Nnamdi Kanu as a central leader, that Boko Haram had Shekau as a central leader, that bandits have their unit leaders that have been identified and have been interfaced with by government agencies or government fronts, as such that the government should come hard on bandits, come hard on insurgents to bring an end to insurgency and banditry so that we can have a self-relief in this country. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, viewers at home. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for, I've seen a lot of comments, Michael Water, Lawrence, Johnson Godwin, Biafra. We've seen so many, Mr. Johnson Godwin, Messiah Sure, so many. Thank you for your comments, for your opinions, and thanks for watching. And the message goes for whoever is in a governmental position and those who at one time or the other have capacity of influence. If the rules of engagement is fair to everybody, where ethnicity is thrown away, everybody is given equal chance. Arresting Nnamdi Kanu, you're moving for Shekau with all your might, not politicizing why some people will demand for amnesty for a group of people that have killed. When the rule is fair, when the decentralization of the governmental powers to enable a good policing system, to bring about the commonwealth to the people, when the autonomy of the local government is granted, the judiciary is free, the legislative arm is free. So it makes the system run like what is practicable in federal democracies in all parts of the world. Until then, the agitation probably might never stop. My name is Efing Samuel. Join us together for the Pundit on Monday. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Bye.